Welcome back to the Eye of Jupiter Live. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and today we have on the wonderful Jessica Haley. This is her third time doing the podcast. I just found out in the green room, so we're going to make her feel welcome today. She's been having a lot of experiences her entire life, and she just kind of wants to talk about them, bring forth, and she just wants to know that she's not alone in what she's been experiencing in her life, and we're here to do that today. And if you're coming back today, well, hey, welcome to the show live every Friday, 4:45 Mountain Time. It's what time I have right now, but it is 6:45 Eastern Time. And every Tuesday we have a regular show at 3:30 Central Time, so 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you want to support the podcast, super chats are open, super thanks are open. It's not a prerequisite, but if you'd like to help me out, that would be wonderful. You can also find me on YouTube. Do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. That'd be wonderful. I appreciate that very much. I've been getting a lot of love and support from you guys as the show starts to catch foot and starts to grow a little bit. I've had wonderful moderators, Pam, Denise, Jenny, Magical, Jim. All these guys are awesome. I seen Jessica on our buddy Tommy Cullum's Let's Get Freaky podcast, so shout out to Tommy. All those links to those wonderful podcasts too are below in the links. If you guys want to get yourself some merchandise, I have some t-shirts, I have some mugs, I have a hat, I got all that stuff. Link in the descriptions down below. Please do me a favor, go over to Spotify and give me a thumbs up or rate the podcast, download a couple episodes, share it with your friends, and all those links you can find me on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Everything is down in the links below. So with all that out of the way, let's welcome to the show Mrs. Jessica Haley.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it so very much.
No problem.
So I seen you over on Tommy's episode. Here we go. There we have someone saying hello. Welcome, Jessica. That's from my moderator, Pam. Hi. This is her first live, so we're gonna make her feel at home, guys. Let's see. Oh, there we go. We got memberships and all that good stuff. So I seen you over on I think your episode dropped like a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
I think it was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it was with Tommy Cullum. I honestly did find your stories. I didn't get too much into them. I just kind of gleaned, and because I want to experience what you're saying to me as you say it. That way, it's not forced, or I'm just yeah, I've heard this, and so I kind of like what I mean. I really enjoy listening to people's experiences for the first time. And you come on today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and where did this all begin for you?
Well, I grew up mostly in Texas, in the country, and I kind of have some mediumship abilities. They're a little bit unpracticed. I'm starting to get into practicing them more and discovering what they can do. But as a kid, I just, had a lot of strange things happen. Like I used to see what I thought were people standing over my bed. I think they were actually my spirit guides maybe now. I'm not sure. But I kind of have always been a part of the world since I was as long as I can remember, really. I used to live outside of Dallas, and this is kind of where it started, was seeing things in my house and being able to actually learn how to lucid dream at like the age of 6.
Wow. That's quite early.
I started accidentally astral projecting by 8 years old.
Okay.
So
and so this has always kind of been so what you were experiencing as a young child wasn't matching up with your friends' experiences. So it kind of like you were like, I'm different.
Oh, I was a weirdo. Yeah. I didn't have a lot of friends.
Weren't we all?
It's weird. Yeah. I didn't really understand what any of it was until I got older, but as I got into my teenage years, my parents built a house on a lake, and this house turned out to be like, they call it the demon house. It was like insanely haunted. It was like another level of haunting, honestly. I lived there for 5 years and realized that this is when I really, really understood that I could see things and hear things that other people could not, because I was like, how are y'all not seeing this? I don't understand why, like, my parents weren't seeing like the people walking around and like talking to them. And I was just like, I felt crazy living there, honestly. We had quite a lot.
How long did you live there? How long did you live there for?
We lived there for 5 years.
That's long enough. Wow. Okay.
Long enough. And actually, we did move in the end because it was so haunted. We ended up selling it to somebody else, and they haven't been able to sell the house for the last 7 years. It's been on and off the market. They try to use it as a vacation rental too.
And so you went into like, what is it? What's the name of the website? I can't think of it. It used to be a website you can like look up houses and stuff.
Yeah, I
And
checked it out
actually,
on Redfin. Yeah, because I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I saw something about it, like, because I was looking for a house and I saw something about it because it popped up under like areas I was looking before. I was like, no way, this house isn't for sale. And I looked at the pictures. I was like, it looks exactly the same. Like nobody changed a thing. It was crazy. And this was like 20 years ago now.
That's weird.
And they had never been able to sell it ever. They kept trying to put it on the market, take it off the market, lower the price.
Yeah, I actually looked up what's it, the Amityville Horror House in Amityville, New York, and like they have those very iconic half or the quarter circle windows, and they changed that and did all and like, and it's just strange, you would think that like, that they would keep it the same way because of its its mysteriousness about it, but I don't know, it just you sparked something in my head when you said they haven't changed anything.
I feel like if you live in an iconically haunted house, you might want to change it so that people don't bother you all the time. Maybe they don't recognize it now.
Yeah, but they know
But
the address. It's like 11 Ocean Avenue or something like that.
they changed the street name actually because they were getting so much trouble. So it used to be on Ocean Avenue. I forgot what they changed it to.
Also, you actually know a lot. Okay, this is also a very, because of the
East.
experiences it's like an interest of yours.
I did start getting into it quite a bit after I realized that I could see these things and I just wanted to know more about everything. Yeah, I know quite a lot about the different haunted locations and what's there and who's been there and like just history, especially about where I live now. Lots of information.
Yeah. We'll get into that in a
Yeah.
little bit. It's very interesting that, yeah, we'll get to there in a second. So tell me about this house. What kind of experiences were you having?
Ooh. I would hallucinate sometimes. Like you would see things that weren't real. They were just completely like placed in your mind. Things
Wow.
would move. An example. So one time I was sleeping on my bed. I had a bunk bed at the time. And I saw like this pink plastic thing fly off the top bunk and like clunk all over the floor, like clunk, 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 clunk. And I'm like, what is that? I don't have anything like that. And then I got up and I didn't see anything. It just didn't exist. It wasn't real. It's completely just not a real thing. Because I lived in a small room with a tile floor. I looked around the bed, underneath the bed, next to the bed. Nothing. I looked
How
at
old
the
were you
top
when
bunk.
how old were
There's
you when
nothing there.
all this happened? How old were you when this started happening
I
for
was
you?
about when it started, I was probably about 12. That's when we like moved there.
Okay. And so you heard it as well as seeing it, and then would you like blink your eyes and open back up again and it was no longer there?
No, I got right up, got right out of bed because I was confused. I didn't understand what fell off the top. I couldn't figure it out.
Uh-huh.
Never found anything. There
And
was nothing on the floor at all.
you were in this room by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And you said your sister was experiencing. Hey, what's up, Tim? And you said your sister was experiencing things too.
Yes, my sister was very young when we lived here. She's about 10 years younger than me. So her room was across the hall from mine. She started seeing things at like infancy. She woke up when she was like a year old crying, saying there was somebody standing at the edge of her bed just saying boo. I was like, yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
As we both got older, it got worse. She used to come and sleep in my room and then realized my room was really scary and then decided not to sleep in my room anymore. She
Oh.
would sleep on the floor of her parents' room. My room was really scary. I wouldn't want to sleep in there either. Actually, I used to sneak out and sleep on the boathouse because we lived on a lake.
Oh,
And
okay. Just like Amityville. All right.
yeah, the boathouse was
But
way less scary. I'll take the thousands of spiders over whatever was in my room. So
okay.
yeah,
Tell me
but
what was in
things would
what was in your room?
whoo, so I had a TV and a rocking chair that I both had to get rid of because the rocking chair would just just keep rocking, just like constantly. They just never stopped rocking. So I just like get
Uh-huh.
this out of my room. The TV kept turning on, and this was like back when like the bunny ear thing was a thing, and you had like static that you had to try to like change into a channel that you could actually see through the static enough. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. How old are you?
Um, I'm in my mid-30s.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm in my mid 40s. Okay, I remember. Okay, I remember when we got. Okay, now we can break the. You were born in Baltimore and raised in Texas. I'm born and raised in Baltimore, and we got. I remember we got cable television. No, yeah, cable television in 1988.
Okay, so where I was from in Texas was very, very rural.
Okay.
And everything that y'all got everywhere else, we didn't get for a much longer time. Because, like, I graduated in 2009 and nobody even had cell phones because there was no cell phone towers anywhere. We still used payphones in
Okay.
2009.
All right.
So
So it's like a
we
time
still
machine.
we still had the tube TVs with the little bunny ears on them when I was in high school and middle school.
Do you
So
take the aluminum foil and crimp it on the top?
we used to try to like hold it just right and just stand there for a minute just to watch the end of an episode. Like, so I
Yeah,
basically
dude.
grew up on like the CW or whatever, WB network at the time, because that's like the only channel that would come in.
Mm.
Yeah. But the TV would randomly come on and the static started like taking shapes and having, you could hear voices through the TV. And it did it often. So it scared me so bad. I just took the whole TV out of my room. I was like, nope, nope. I also covered all my mirrors. And I started listening to music as I went to sleep because I would always hear talking. Like they would call my name a whole bunch. They would actually even pull the covers off of me if I wasn't paying attention at all. They would be like, "Why aren't you listening?" And just like, "Take the covers."
Wow.
One time it went even as far as them grabbing my ankles and pulling me all the way out of the bed and halfway down the hall. So that was
Wow.
really
So
scary.
yeah, you were experiencing a lot at a young age of
It
12.
was pretty extreme. This was
That's a
a
lot,
very
dude.
intense haunting. Like my sister and I joke about it all the time because like we see like the stuff on TV and we're like, that's nothing. That's nothing. Like ours was so much worse. Like
And this was a
it
newer
scratched
house?
you,
This
huh?
was a newer house or an older house?
They built the house.
They built
They
the
built the
house.
house on this property, yes.
Okay, so it
The
has to be
land
something
in the
with the
town,
land.
though, had a very dark and mysterious history that I found out about later after I moved because I was just so curious as to why it was so haunted. You know, I'm like, why? I don't understand. They built it, you know. It's not just that, like the house, the land itself was haunted. So, I mean, even the neighbors had problems, but not as bad as ours. We seem to be like the middle of it,
What
like
can you
the
tell me?
central.
What can you tell me about the stories of the area?
Um, So there used to be a different town there that I actually had to do extensive research on to find even the name of it on a map. I have it written down. But the point is, it was extremely difficult to find. And so they flooded this town and made it
Wow.
into a lake for tourism.
Wow.
And they never got rid of any of the buildings. And I know this because we used to take the boat out and we had like a fish Doppler, if you know what that is. And it shows you like the fish and the structures. And you used to see like all like the actual buildings underground, like the sonar thing.
Oh yeah, fish finder.
Yeah. The fish
Yeah,
finder
yeah.
found some buildings though, like structures. Um,
Okay, that's a very common thing. I'd imagine there's some cemeteries under there too. I mean,
there's a lot of stuff over there. We also lived where it wasn't there anymore, but it used to be like a historical site, like a Civil War marker, where like one of the battles between like the Native Americans and the Confederate Army took place. But it was no longer there, and there's nowhere like we didn't know exactly where it was, but we estimated it was within a mile of where we lived.
wow. So
And the
Darren writes.
locals.
Darren writes. It sounds like Smith Lake. Is it Smith Lake?
Mhm.
No. Okay. So all right. So you don't have to tell us. We'll keep guessing.
There's more. Hold on, not
Oh,
done yet.
oh,
There is
all
more.
right. We got. Oh,
So
I'm sure. I'm sure.
there's more. Yeah. So um, I couldn't find any like actual evidence of this, but the locals have told me that the lake itself, where the town was built, that was a natural crater that was created when a meteor hit the earth like thousands of years ago. Like it was from like a meteor crater.
That's interesting.
So that's pretty crazy. And they told me that the Native American tribes that lived out there were ran out and that they cursed the land specifically so that no white man may ever live there.
Wow.
And I was told that by my Native American friends that lived nearby and went to school with me because I told them where I lived, and they were like, "That's a bad area. Like that land is
Wow.
cursed." Yeah.
Okay. So you're telling me some things
And
about
this,
like, like
I believe them
residents being
because we used to wander through the woods a lot, and I have actually seen like artifacts and arrowheads and all sorts of stuff, like all kinds of stuff around the house, across the street from the house. Yeah, so I completely believe that it used to be like a Native American, like tribal, like land. So thankfully we didn't stay there long. And
Yeah,
we
because
moved.
with the moving of people, regardless of Native Americans, settlers, you're when you're talking to me, I watched an episode of Small Town Monsters about the land between the lakes and how that also was like families were forced out, and a lot of
Mhm.
cemeteries were like under, some are most likely underwater, and that's the things they're seeing there too. I would love to know where this is. You can tell me off camera. I would like to know where this is and see if I can find more people from that
Well,
area,
based
even
on
maybe some
a small
natives.
town. But yeah, definitely. Like I've
Thank you,
been digging
Jim.
into this research for years. Like I literally had to talk to people that have just lived there their whole lives and their parents lived there their whole lives. Like that's the best information I've gotten so far. So
Wow,
like
wow.
my best friend, her parents have lived out there, grandparents lived out there. They're like fifth generation, so they know a lot. I got a lot of stuff from them.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your mediumship, your abilities that have starting to awaken, that have been awakened in you through time, and that you're starting to realize. Tell me a little bit about that.
So over time, I realized I could do this. Randomly, I would meet somebody and I would see like something with them, like an attachment or like a person that's with them. And most of the time I try to ignore it, but every now and then I'm very compelled to tell them something. Like where I used to work, people thought I was crazy, I swear. But like this one this one kid was going through a really rough time, and I saw that like I assumed it was his grandmother that was with him, and she kept like trying to get my attention, like waving around and like yelling at me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay, what do you want?" So I had to sit him down, and it was weird because I was his manager and he's like 16. I was like, let's just gently ease you into this. Okay. So I had to explain to him that I could like kind of see ghosts and stuff. And like, I think that his grandmother, like Nana's with him, that she has something really important to say. And at first, of course, he was really skeptical because why wouldn't he be? And then she started showing me images of memories with them together. And one stood out to me where he was like, he really liked her cat. I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to play with her cat all the time. She had a black cat." And he just like just completely froze and like started crying. He was like, "How did you know that? How did you know that she had a black cat?" I was like, "I she showed it to me." So then he was on board. Then he believed me and he's like, "What does she have to tell me?" And I said, "This is apparently very important. She told me to tell you that you need to go and see your doctor right away." And so
Whoa.
he took that, yeah, he took that very
Right.
seriously. He had really bad anger issues, and so he made an appointment and he went to his doctor. And his doctor said that he was so unhealthy that he was basically like gonna have a heart attack any single day. Like his like whole heart was clogged up, and he was only like 16 or 17.
Wow.
So because of that, he actually like took his health seriously and like got his life on track and like started, seeing like a nutrition specialist, like getting better exercise, seeing like a anger management therapist. And like it was literally all because his grandmother told me to tell him to go to the doctor.
You still
So,
have
and he
contact with
really,
this person?
I don't, unfortunately.
Oh, oh.
I mean, I don't work there anymore, and he's probably doesn't live out here anymore. But
Oh, yeah,
it would
this
be
it's not what I
nice.
meant. It's like if there's any updates on his life or things like that, like if you made a positive change for someone because of your abilities, I think that's incredible. That's all I'm
Yeah,
trying to
the
say.
last time I heard from him, he was going off to college, I think, in North Carolina. So
Oh,
I think
you're
that's
right.
probably where he is now because that wasn't that long ago. I've had a
Okay.
few instances like that were just super random that I couldn't not say something. Like I was like, oh, like also at my last job. one of the managers that worked with me, his son was going through something really dark and like serious. And he's like, we've taken him to therapy. Like, we don't understand what's going on with him. He's just like acts like a different person. And we don't understand what it is. And he showed me a picture of his son. And in the picture, I saw that there was like something really dark looming over him, like touching him, like a dark attachment. And I was like, ooh, I should really tell him about that. So I sat him down and I tried to ease him in. I was like, do you believe in like anything like paranormal, supernatural? Like, are you cool with this? So I told him what I saw in the picture. And he's like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, well, I don't really know. I just can tell you what I saw. I was like, you might address it, command it to leave. You're like the man of the house. Like, just
Mhm.
force it out of his room, maybe. Just like try that. And he said he did. He said that he tried to do that. And then, like, within a week, his son was like back to normal. He was like, I don't know if I ever really truly believed in this stuff, but I think I do now. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
So during this whole, let's go back to the house in Texas that you grew up in. So during this whole situation, and your parents were experiencing things as well.
They were, but as adults, they try to brush it off.
Hmm.
Like one time, I remember we were all sitting around the dining room table playing like a board game on a Sunday or something when it was raining. And like my mom's glass just like right onto the table. And she just, got up and cleaned it up and refilled it and brought it back. And then, and then it went like, and like smashed against the wall. And then we all
Whoa.
just looked at each other like, I don't think we should play this any longer. Like, I guess the game is over. I'll just put this away for now.
Okay, so when they decided to sell this house, did they did it because they just wanted to move on, or it's because they knew it was haunted?
To be honest, it started to become quite dangerous towards the end.
Okay.
Whatever was in there was actually like physically attacking us and moving
Okay.
things around and manipulating our thoughts in like a negative way. Like one of the scariest things that happened with me, like my sister was only like 3 or 4. My mom went to the store one time with my sister, and I saw my sister in the backyard wandering around looking for her mom, who she said she saw walk into the lake.
Whoa.
I said, Mom's at the store with you. And I was so scared. I was like, okay, we're going to go back in the house and we're just going to be calm. Mom came home all frantic because she said she got in the car with her. And then when she got home, she wasn't in the car and she doesn't understand how it happened. And then she got in the house and saw her in the
Whoa.
house and just absolutely like lost it. She was like, I think I need to go lie down. Like, because
That's
she
incredible.
literally thought that she saw her kid with her, but she was never with her. Just like my sister thought that her mom was with her, but she was never with her.
Oh my.
So it
And
got
she
really
just brushed
dangerous.
that off. She just brushed
Yeah,
that off. That is
she
that
didn't
is
brush
that
that
is
off.
I don't know your
That was
mom,
one
and
of
I
the
don't know.
last things that I think we moved within like 2 weeks of that. That was
No
one of the
kidding.
last things that happened.
No kidding. That
But
is crazy. Look, you
yeah.
get everyone's over there freaking out. That is so insane.
My mom also used to sleepwalk a lot, and she would break furniture and stuff in her sleep, break dishes, step on it, cut herself with it, lay back down, covered in
Whoa.
blood. Hmm. She broke a lamp one time and just walked all over it, like on purpose, and then went back to bed. And I saw it, and I was like, "Do I wake her up? Like, I don't know what to do." So,
So from the time you were 12 until you were 17, that's 5 years.
hmm
I'm doing some math over here. So that's okay. Now, there's another reason it kind of showed up on Tommy's show, which got me interested. Now, you had a possible dogman encounter. Could you maybe go into that a little bit?
same house. Lived out there. Used to go walking in the woods all the time. Mom always warned me of animals. We used to see different things out there. So like this was an area that was heavily populated with wildlife. So we had like bobcats, mountain lions, coyotes. I never saw a wolf. But there was something else that I saw one time that I really didn't recognize or could explain. And it almost looked like a coyote, kind of, but it was really, really tall, like really tall. And its legs were like abnormally long for the body. And my husband was like, "You just saw a long leg coyote." I was like, "No, I've seen pictures of those. This is not what that was." It was like,
And you met your husband in Texas.
no, up here. But I told him my stories, which I think he half believes, but it's okay.
Okay.
So the first time I realized what it was like next to my car. I was driving from my friend's house. I had been living there forever to like another friend's house. And it was like the middle of the night. And I just saw this thing pop out of like the tree line next to me. And it was literally like 7 feet tall.
What,
Like
standing up on two legs
fours.
or
no.
on all 7 feet tall on all fours?
It was like 7 feet. It almost went to
That's
the
not
top
a
of the
dog,
tree
man.
line. I don't know
That's
what
not
it
a dog,
was.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what it was because I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
I was really confused.
Well, I couldn't either, but at the same time, let's say if it is a dog, man, I've never heard one like that. I've heard him being 7 feet tall, standing up on two legs, but never on all fours being 7 feet tall.
It was in a ditch, so it was basically like eye level with me in the ditch, which doesn't make sense.
Was it
the body seemed
proportioned?
kind of, huh?
It was exactly what we're going to get to.
Yeah, the body was really small compared to the legs, like, and it had a really like kind of small head, but like the teeth were really large. Like I could actually see the teeth. They like overlapped.
Jim from Night's Watch writes, like the wolf that showed up on Skinwalker Ranch.
You know what? Everybody says it was a skinwalker, but I've never seen one except for that. So I didn't know if that's what that was or not. But like, I'm not the only one that's seen it. I've talked to other people, but they always called it like the chupacabra. And I was like, but isn't a chupacabra like a goat sucker? Because none of the people around had like any like slaughtered animals. It's like, isn't that what it does?
But isn't a chupacabra? I don't think I've ever heard one that's that large. I don't think I've ever heard one that is large.
But that's what they always think it is because that's what they hear. So like I've talked to people who have seen it out there a few times, and they're like, yeah, there's this like huge like wolf-like thing, and I'm like, no, I don't think that the chupacabra is supposed to be like large like that. I think that they're smaller.
Wow.
But
so what happened? What happened when you seen it?
To be honest, I wish I had a camera. I didn't.
We all do. It happens.
I did have a phone. I was actually on the phone with my friend that I was going to their house, and I was freaking out. I was freaking out over the phone. I was like telling them what I was seeing, and they were like, "Don't slow down, just keep going." Like, and they caught up. Like they were kind of running along with my car for like a solid like 30 seconds, and I was probably going like 50. So that's pretty fast.
Yeah.
It really freaked me out. And like it just kept looking at me and then running and looking at me. And then eventually it just went right back into the trees. And I was like, by the time I got to my friend's house, I was like, please meet me outside. I don't even want to get out. I don't like.
What do you mean by running and looking at you? Like it would run up beside you and on the driver's side window or
passenger side? Yeah. From the ditch.
And it would look through.
It was looking directly at me. Like it
was running through the ditch.
Yeah, and it's like pitch black outside too. So like this was basically from just the moonlight that I could see it because they didn't have street lights or anything out there, and I could see it pretty clearly still. It was like a silvery color, and it looked like it maybe didn't even have fur. Like it was like just the shape of like, I don't know.
That's weird. If you guys have any suggestions on the side what that might be, because it has like crawler feel to it, like the skin, like a crawler. But then you say it has like a wolf-like head, so it's like
kind of. It looked almost like I think it looked more like a coyote, maybe, but like very wolfy, like kind of snout. But it didn't have a lot of fur. It didn't seem like it did anyway. Wow, like I really do wish I could have taken a picture of it.
Doing 50 miles an hour and it chased you for 30 seconds. That's easily a couple hundred yards, easily.
Yeah. It was very memorable, clearly.
I'd imagine, yes.
Yeah.
That's something that you're not going to, but you can't bring this kind of stuff up like, like Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. But this one time, Jerry, let me tell you something. and you just can't do that. So, like, who have you been able to tell these kind of things to without people like giving you the stink
Um,
eye?
my siblings and the people that live in that area I've talked to about it just to see if they've seen anything. A lot of them have. So, but they all kind of say something slightly different, but I don't know if it's the same thing or not. My friend told me that one time she thought she saw a coyote in her yard, but that it was like much taller than the picnic table, which doesn't make sense because
No,
like
no. Are we
yeah.
talking about the picnic tables with the ones that are attached to the table itself, where it's like
Uh-huh.
one board? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. She said
This-
it was much taller than the picnic table. I was like, they
yeah,
don't get
that's like
that
a
big.
wolf size. No, no, they don't. No, they
They
don't.
don't get that big. Yeah.
So I'm always interested. You're actually, guys. She is from the town I'm from. She's from Baltimore area, and and that's interesting because
Mhm.
we have there's I think it's called the Devil's House that's in Patapsco State Park. I don't know if you've ever been to Patapsco State Park.
I have, and I didn't know that was a thing, but I've only been there once.
Okay, when you go to Patapsco State Park, if you ever go down to, I don't know what it looks like now. It used to be called Browder's Dam. It doesn't exist there anymore. It's where the old paper mill. I don't know if that's still there either. I haven't been in 10 years.
I have heard of that. I have heard
Okay,
of the old paper mill.
well, this for the paper mill. There's a bridge that goes over the Patapsco River, and at the same time, there's a bridge that goes over from the railroad tunnel. So there's the railroad, the bridge, and the paper mill, and the river, all right there. And if you look up to the right there, there's a old parking lot. If you go up the hill to the top, there's old like a sanitarium there. And if you go up there, it's called the Hell House. That's what it's called. Now I remember. That's the name of in the area. I've been there.
That's only like 20 minutes away. I'm gonna have to look.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a weekend thing.
Yeah, and then if you go up there, the house is kind of is destroyed, but there's an old road that goes along the ridge line there. It's an old ridge line. So to the right will be the Patapsco River with the rail line, and to the left will be a valley or whatever. And if you go a little farther in there, you'll run into a cemetery with a big black cross in it. So go have yourself a good time up there. And it used to be like, when I was in high school, I used to go to Catonsville High School. That's where I graduated from, which is literally like 10 minutes from there. It's not even that far. Yeah. And so I always like to hear about like interesting things in the area. And you were talking about Reisterstown. You mentioned something in the green room about Reisterstown. I mean, maybe it's not a big part, but I love to hear it.
Not too many experiences since I've been living in Maryland, but I've had a few for sure. So it was probably like 10 years ago when I started dating my current husband. He lived in Reisterstown, and I used to go for walks with him because I like, I just like doing that. And we would go at night because we had weird jobs. So one time we were walking along Reisterstown Road, and like I just like stopped because I saw this weird thing in the woods, and I was like, it's like this lady's like screaming at me like she's scared, and she said that they were just burning everything, like burning her house down, like trying to light her on fire. And I was like, what is that? Because I just assume everybody thinks I'm crazy when they meet me. And when I try to form actual relationships with people, I let them know like very upfront that I can see things and that sometimes I talk about it so that they're not like caught off guard. So we had known each other for like a year by this time, and he was like, okay, so she's not totally crazy, I don't think. And he told me that, yeah,
actually. Your husband's African American too, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is not a racial thing, but I grew up around, Baltimore. We have, it's a prominently African American city, and I just know growing up, they don't really like scary stuff. They're like,
they feel like if you ignore it, it'll go away, but that's not really true.
They just don't want them to do it. They're just like, yeah. It's my wife's stuff.
Well,
normally
his family's a little different. They're very spiritual and they're very accepting, and they 100% believe everything I tell them because they're like, yes, makes sense. So
they've had experiences too.
Yeah, with me. They now ask me to come in their house or come to their apartment when they get a new place to make sure it's not haunted. Like, anything in here?
For real?
I'm like, oh yeah, somebody like had a heart attack in the kitchen though. Like, you might.
Dude, you should be a real estate agent, dude. You'd be like, this house is completely clear. Trust me. I went through every room.
No, it's funny because like my aunt and uncle just bought like a house in Middle River, and she actually asked me to come in and like check it out. And I did. And I told her that. I was like, this guy literally had a heart attack. It started in the kitchen. He tried to walk into the closet for something and then he died at the threshold. And she just stared at me. I was like, why are you staring at me? They're like, that was disclosed when we bought the house and we knew that already.
Whoa.
I just wanted to see if you knew it.
Okay. All right. So,
Like,
you coming on these. What's the purpose? Okay, let me ask you a question. What's your purpose of coming on these podcasts? To reach out to a wider community of people like yourself, or then run into people like yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I love connecting with people. I really have no agenda. Like,
it doesn't seem so.
have...
Everyone's really they're saying you're a very sweet person and you're helping your families and stuff. That they love that. Thank you, Pam. Everyone's just they're talking about you've hauntings and this is the right place. This is the right place. So that's awesome that you want to come on and share, but at the same time, there is a lot of people out there that you can reach out to, but be careful. There's always creepers out there. Take your husband with you. There's always fucking creepy guys. There's a lot of those.
And every time I tell him I'm on a podcast, he's like, again? I'm like, I've only done it a couple of times. I just like it. It's kind of fun.
Well, if he wants to, you can talk to me. I'll talk to him to make him feel comfortable. But yes. so you're like, you should. That's definitely a market that you can get into, like a medium for real estate agents. You know what I mean? Like you work at like Remax or whatever. And just
yeah. When we were looking for a house, I actually walked out of this one house because I was like, no. Like we walked in down to the basement, and I just walked right out. And the real estate agent was looking at me crazy, and my husband just like apologized on my behalf and said that I wasn't feeling well. And I was like, that wasn't it. That's not why, but thank you. Like, you don't want to.
I mean, you've been to places that are fine too, I'd imagine too, right?
Oh yeah, the house I live in now is fine.
Okay.
We ended up buying a house, and it's good.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, so you ended up moving. The house never sold. I mean, what else? What else is interesting? What else like? Okay, because you're saying you're coming forward. What is an experience that strikes you as being? I mean, other than the one where your mom and your sister, that one I'm still gonna have to digest that one later. Like, what other experience have you had that you'd like to share with us?
Well, there was another experience I had in Maryland. It's a local place. It's called the Hampton House, if you've heard of it.
Hampton.
Now you can't go in there and say it's haunted. They won't. They'll be like, that's all fake, because they give tours, right?
Where's the Hampton House?
It's off of Delaney Valley Road.
Oh, I know.
Right on the edge of Towson. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. It's where Cal Ripken lives. Okay.
So it's like a historic home that was owned by the Hampton family. And they have this beautiful ground you can walk on with like flowers. It's like a state park. So they do give tours inside the house. And if this wasn't that long ago, it was maybe like 6 years ago. I stumbled across it thinking it's super cool. Like, I want to check it out. I went in. The guy was new. He was a park ranger. I could tell he was new. And he was like, because he even said, and if you've heard it's haunted, don't believe a word of it. I was like, okay. So we started going through the tour, and I was the only person there. But he was, he humored me. He's like, it's cool. I'll take you. Like, you're here. Let's do this. I was like, cool. So we started walking through the house, and he started telling me all the interesting facts about the different owners and like what the color of the wall meant, and like how having oranges back then was like a sign that you were wealthy or whatever.
Okay.
And we were in the dining room, and then you can hear people talking in the other room. And I was like, he said, hold on just a second. Nobody else is supposed to be in here. So he goes to the other room, and he comes back. He goes, there was nobody in there. I was like, okay, let's just continue the tour or whatever. And I was like taking pictures the whole time because, I'm like, this place is totally haunted. Like, I could tell right away. But I saw this guy go from total skeptic to like, okay, I think there might actually be ghosts here. A few other things happened while we were walking around. We went upstairs to this really creepy bedroom. It looked like a nursery. And one of the dolls moved.
Okay. Those dolls... like disembodied voices and dolls moving, like dolls scared the living shit out of me. I hate to use that kind of language, but it's just the truth. So when you say that, like a little cold chill just went through. I don't like the dolls.
It was not okay. We actually both like couldn't get out of the room fast enough. We were like stumbling over each other, like trying to run through the door. And it was so funny because like once we finally like went our separate ways, he was like white and just like I, I don't even know what to say. I'm sorry, and like just like left. And I was like, well, thanks for the tour. Like, and I went back and looked at the pictures, and you can see something in one of them, like really clearly. And I tried to debunk it, and I couldn't debunk it.
Well,
So
eventually, I would love to see that picture. Maybe you can send it to me over, Instagram there.
it's
I won't show it to
on my
nobody.
Instagram already, actually. I can send it to you.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it was really weird. I took a picture in the mirror and it looks like a smoky, misty outline of like a hairline, like standing next to me. And at first I thought it was like a reflection from the cabinet behind me, but it had antique glass and it was wavy. And there's no way you could get a
Right.
clear shape out of it. And I'm like,
Okay.
and
If
it
you'd
couldn't have
like, I
been
could
in
share
the
that on the
mirror
Facebook
because
page.
yeah,
I would share it
it's
on the
pretty
Facebook.
wild.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a great thing that people try to debunk things because a lot of these ghost hunter shows like Twin Paranormal. I watched it, and then after a while I just couldn't watch no more. But every 2 seconds they're like, whoa, and oh my God. So I think it's okay to be a bit of skepticism, even if you're a person who has the abilities that you have, is fine. But you know what I mean? That you're still doing that, I think that's also a very admirable thing to be doing. It's like you can just go, yeah, I see this, there's witches burning over here and there's dog man, there's no. But at the same
Well, I
time,
knew
what is
that place
this?
was haunted, so I always do try. Like, I mean, I don't want to show it to anybody if I don't think that it's like legitimate. I'm gonna look
Yeah,
stupid if I do that.
you
So
should go
I
to.
do want to make
I'd like
sure
to hear
that
you go to Fort McHenry. I would love to hear you go to Fort McHenry. See if you hear anything. One
I'm
that
a
you have.
little
Yeah. Well,
so uh, I'm almost ashamed to admit this. My distant family, I'm gonna say it one more time. They were real distant, are actually the people that invaded Fort McHenry, like the part of the British Army. Like the guy's like portrait that's hanging up in there was actually like my like 11th cousin. So
wow. A,
I was like,
a place that's also
ooh.
very haunted, but I wouldn't go down there. My father was telling me he goes fishing. He goes out by the hospital over there on the Harbor Hospital. That's where he goes out. But he used to go to Fort Armistead to go out to go fishing and crabbing right there underneath where the Key Bridge used to be. And he was like, that place is super haunted, like the Fort Armistead, but it's very sketchy. So don't go down there. I wouldn't put you in harm's way. But people don't realize that Baltimore is a very haunted place. Like
Oh,
it's got so much hit.
I work at one of the most haunted places in probably the whole state, I would say. It's difficult to
Okay.
work there. I work at
Okay.
one of like that really big old hospital in the middle of the city in the east side. I don't want to say the name because
Oh
people
yeah.
are
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we won't say the name. I know. I know. Well, I don't want to be jumping around, but
Yeah. No, and
yeah,
so
yeah,
my office is
yeah.
located in the sub basement that used to be a fallout shelter. And the fallout shelter actually
Okay.
predates the rest of the building that I'm in. Like the building that I'm
Okay.
in was built in the 60s, but the fallout shelter was from the 50s. So it's very creepy. I see stuff all the time outside of my office down the hall, like all the time. I have to just try to ignore it, especially like when I have things going on, like meetings or like I'm with people and I just like distantly look off. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, don't worry about it. Let's just go, you know?
Now, how do you deal with this? I
um,
mean, you're seeing these things all the time. Do you have like close friends that you can talk to, or do you have
I do
family
have
members
some
that?
people that I will just openly tell them what I'm seeing if I see anything, and then sometimes I just try really hard to ignore it. In a professional setting, it can be challenging. I just try to like meditate a little bit and clear my mind and ignore it the best that I can. One
Yeah. You
time,
can.
my boss was
Yeah.
giving me like a tour of meeting spaces, and we went to like the old psych hospital that's abandoned that they use just for meetings now. They don't use it for anything. And one of the rooms had like a crazy person just like in the corner, like literally crawling at the walls. And it was so freaking scary. And I walked in the room with everybody else, and everybody was like, oh, it's so beautiful in here. And I was like, I gotta go. Like, I can't. I
My mother
can't.
used to work at. My mother retired from Spring Grove Hospital. That's where she used to work, and the stuff that she's seen from the actual people being there. There was a story. She didn't tell me this was it was a high school because Catonsville High School is right there, right close to Spring Grove, and there was a guy in there who thought it was a glass of orange juice. It's funny to me. I'm sorry. It's awful. Things happen to people, but he would never sleep laying down because he thought he was going to pour out. So, it's just yeah. And the things that she would run across that she would never tell me everything, but things that she would see. And my mother, she's a mom. You know how moms are. Moms, you throw up, you do certain things. They just clean it up. Oh, I love you, baby. So she would, whenever she would tell me certain things, it would always stick with me. And that particular place that you are talking about is very old, very prestigious too. It's very prestigious. It's very famous. So I know why you wouldn't want to say it. So it's a wild, so doing these podcasts, I'm just basically trying to get to your purpose. I guess you just want to kind of like maybe reach out to people, talk to people, and just maybe try to understand what's going on with you a little bit.
Yeah, I've been trying to expand the community of people I talk to a little bit. I currently only have one friend that really is super open with me about it, and my sister. And that's really it. Everybody else that I know is just like, no, you're crazy. Or
Yeah,
I don't want to tell them about it because it's
yeah,
like, I don't know. It's kind of
yeah.
hard to explain. It's starting to become a little bit more accepted. Um,
Yes.
than it used to be. But like for somebody that's like had to live with it their whole life, it still feels like kind of taboo that you have to hide it.
Hmm.
And honestly, like if you try to tell somebody like you're a medium, they just like dismiss you. Like, okay, you know?
Well, we're trying to break that here, man. We're trying to break that here because there are people, just be honest with you, who do take advantage of people when they say they are a medium, and then there's the true ones like yourself and others that I know. And I don't try to dismiss anybody because they tell me if they're going to come on and talk to me, then I'm going to take them seriously because it's
Yeah.
not up to me to make up my mind. I believe you. It's fine with me. I'm not up to make anyone
I
else's
mean,
mind.
I'm
I'm
not
up to
like
change.
selling anything. Like I'm not here for like publicity or anything. So I don't have anything to lose. I just am trying to share my stories.
Yeah,
See if
yeah,
anybody
and
else like had
you can maybe
anything
reach out.
similar.
Honestly, my sister has seen a ton of stuff. She lived in many of the row homes in Western Baltimore, and she was telling me a story one time where she went down the steps in her well, might as well be husband, but they're still boyfriend girlfriend forever, fiance, whatever you want to call them. They've been together forever, and she went down the steps in their parents' house and looked into the kitchen and seen a butcher because it was down near Pigtown, down in that part of Baltimore, Pigtown, that area, and just chopping away on the block and everything, and like kind of like on a smock with the blood on it and stuff. So like, it's not it's not unusual. You're not unusual. I want you to understand that you're not unusual in what you're seeing. I think everyone sees it to a certain extent. It's just like your parents, just like my parents. They just kind of ignore it. It's that your parents are kind of like the
Mhm.
same era my parents are. My parents were born in the mid to late 50s, both of them. So there's this kind of like
Same.
mentality of like, we work 40 hours a week, we watch the Ravens and the Orioles, and we go to work, and you know what I mean? And
Like, we
like they
don't have
kind of,
time for ghosts. Just go back to where you came from.
yeah,
Like,
it's, Jesse,
we don't have time.
this is the same with me. My dad would be like, because when it happened to me with my poltergeist stuff, like I would hear the house creak and I would jump out of the bed, and he's just like, it was an
That's
overreaction on my
funny.
behalf. He was right. You understand what I mean? It was just a house settling, or like there was one time the wind was moving the door, but like me being in a heightened state of like nervousness, he would then like dismiss all the other things that happened before. So,
Mm,
you know what I mean? So, like, I want to tell you, like, that
yeah.
I believe you, and everyone on the show believes you, and just go ahead and like, be very careful about these kind of things because we don't know. There's people who are ultra Christian. I'm not. I'm just a religious person. I'm not a religious person. I'm a man of God. I'm not a Christian dude. And some people think they're all demons and all that, and some people think they're aliens, and there's some people who think this, and some people who think that. But just go ahead and find your own route and deal with it the way that works for you.
I have some theories. I have some theories about the whole alien thing a little bit, not gonna lie. Because,
Okay.
like, because we're spiritual beings, and I believe aliens are also spiritual beings. And I believe that not all of it, but maybe just a small portion of like the terrifying things that we see, maybe the things that are super strong and can do a lot of things, might not be human. We know they're non-human. Could they be alien? Maybe.
Oh,
I
there you
don't
go.
know.
Here's
Yeah.
she's here's a medium that you can talk to. I've actually had they on Fire Lotus the Witch, who sees a lot of things too. A very sweet person, very genuine person, and that's somebody you can maybe reach out to if you need someone. They are very. It's still hard for me to do that.
I've been trying to
old
find
old guy.
somebody. I have a lot of dreams about like I don't like, they're not pleasant dreams. It's usually how people perceive, like how ghosts perceive themselves most of the time. And it's really scary for me, but I don't know what they want most of the time. Like I can't figure out what they actually want. Like it seems like how they perceive time is different. They almost kind of just cut through time, like not in a straight line. Um, but I've had dreams
Well,
where people realize that they weren't alive anymore, and then just like gaps would go by each time they were aware that they were still where they were and couldn't figure out how to leave. So I'm trying to figure out how to help whatever is trying to reach me because this happens quite often in my dreams.
wow.
Um, I've been trying to write them down because I've seen specific details, like really specific details. One of them I remember was a cabin in the woods in like California specifically, and it showed me where it was on a map, and it showed this guy sleeping under like this big skylight, and then there was like four dead children that were all blonde just standing next to him, like showing me that they were there and that they were in the cabin still, like somewhere in the cabin. And I was like, oh my God, like what do I do with that information? you know
That's heavy. And it's not
like,
even just that, it's very heavy. That's extremely heavy to have that kind of knowledge in your on your ball cord. You don't know what to do with it, who to talk to.
no, I don't know what
Um,
to do with it.
okay, then okay, then you're really okay, you're seeing some stuff then. Okay. When we're done with this, there's somebody I want to get you in touch with who is who can do those kind of things as well. And he's a very sweet person, very genuine person. And if you don't want to, that's also fine. There's no pressure whatsoever. But at the same time, if you want to reach out and connect, there are people like yourself. I think you have very whatever powerful, or it's maybe the wrong word because it has some type of thought behind it, powerful, but like you have some type of a strong ability, I guess is a good way of saying it. And it's kind of like maybe a certain point of acceptance is going to come in your life, like this may be the path that you're going to go down. And just be cautious, because I'm very afraid of those kind of things, because the only thing I have about
That
myself is
is
I'm very
scary.
empathetic. I'm
It's
very
like the lack of
empathetic, that's it.
control. Yeah. It's my lack of control. Like about a year ago, I started accidentally remote viewing while listening to podcasts. Actually, it started with the Hidden in the Shadows podcast. I would like listen to their podcast and hear like a minuscule sound like the chair squeak, and then I would just see everything that was in the room with them, like everything at the time that they recorded it. And then I would reach
Okay.
out to them and I told them about it. And they were like, yeah, that's actually what this room looks like. But how would you know? Like, they're like, that episode we recorded was like a year ago, and now we do it in a different room. So I saw what it looked like at the time of the recording, not current. So
Right.
that was weird. And that was my first experience with that, but it's happened quite a few times since then.
Okay, so it's like, so are you saying that these visions and the dreams and all the things that are happening are starting to increase, or like are you still at a
Yes.
comfortable level?
No.
No, it's getting uncomfortable for you.
It's getting really intense, especially recently.
Okay, okay, all right. I'm going to reach out to somebody, and however you're willing to talk to this person, if you're willing or not, that's up to you. But there is somebody that I do trust, that asked me to do some things that I wasn't willing to do. Contacted me one day just out of the blue. Hey, the spirits told me that you're having a rough time. I want to let you know that they told me to keep doing what you're doing. and everything's going to be fine. And I go, yeah, it's a little vague. I am going through some stuff right now. You want to give me some detail? He goes, no, that's all they told me. Bye. That's just the way he is, though. But it's very sweet.
I
and
just
very
wish I would get
genuine.
like clear purpose, or like what is this for? Like you're just sending me like random pictures or something. Like what am I supposed to do with this? I don't know what to do with this.
Right. Right. Yeah. So we got the surreal real estate agent, Jessica. Follow your dreams. Trust them. They'll give you insight, give you many things good. You're protected in your dreams, just like in the walking existence. So people here are just, yeah. This is your first live, right?
Yeah.
Well, you
I'm
did
very
great.
cool.
I think it was fantastic. I will. I'll tell you what. I won't leave you on longer. I'm sure you got things that you want to do. It is Friday evening.
Yeah.
I'll send you the person's information that I'm talking to you about, and just say, hey, just say Tom said to reach out to you. This is kind of some of the things, and there's any advice you can give me or something like that. And he can just say, yeah, do this or do that, or just he's a sweet man. He's just like, oh, go like this girl, but he has like this. He's I love talking to him. He's a lot of fun to talk to, and at the same time, he does scare me a little bit, but it's in the best of ways, if you know what I mean. So, I want to thank you so much for coming on with me today and sharing it. I can tell you're a little uncomfortable, but it's a lot of uncomfortable things to bring up, and I want to let you know that you did great, and I really thank you for coming on today.
Thanks. I think I was just a little nervous. I'm not used to being on like shows.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It took me a while too. I mean, you're the first guest I had that had this is their first live. So for me, it was new too. And
Oh.
you just started doing this, so I tried to make it as comfortable as I could for you. I hope I wasn't too weird.
No, it's really hard to do that with me. Very hard to be too weird. Like I pretty
Fair
much
enough. Fair enough. So
yeah, try to
Jessica,
out weird this girl. Like
yeah, it's all good to go. Another person, if you ever want to get on contact and talk to somebody on the podcast, talk to my friend. He's right here. He's coming up next, guys. Daniel Cahoon, the Magical Journey podcast. He is, I'll tell you, he's one of my best friends. He's a sweetheart of a guy. He's also a person I would direct you to talk to. He'll listen. He's a great podcaster. He's coming up next after my show. He's like a self-professed green witch who knows a lot about his bloodlines, and he knows a lot about like forest and rocks and energy, and he has visions too. I think he can kind of contextualize them a little bit more. I think yours are probably stronger. Just this is an outsider perspective. I can't see through your mind or your heart or your eyes. But he's also, Baltimore is seriously, yes, Darren, true. He's a great guy too, and you can reach out to him too. He would love to talk to you. He's a sweet man. Okay, so I'm trying to help, and I thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your stories with us. We appreciate that, and your encounters and your experiences.
yeah. It was fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys. Thanks for being on the show. Remember, we are the eye. We are aware. Love you all and have a wonderful weekend.